Good evening. The Philippines summons the Chinese embassy's deputy chief of mission after China used water cannons anew against Filipino vessels in the Scarborough Shoal. The Department of Foreign Affairs says it summoned the Chinese Embassy of Manila Deputy Chief of Mission Zhao Zhiyong over China's harassment of Philippine vessels conducting a routine and regular humanitarian mission to Scarborough Shoal on April 30. According to the DFA, the Philippines protests China's harassment and other aggressive actions against the Philippine vessels on their way to the shoal. The Philippines emphasizes that vessels of the Philippine Coast Guard and the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources were damaged due to China's aggressive actions, particularly its water cannon use. Manila also demands that Chinese vessels leave Scarborough Shoal and its vicinity immediately. China seized control of Scarborough Shoal's lagoon in 2012 after a standoff with Philippine vessels. At least 2 China Coast Guard ships have been permanently deployed inside the lagoon since then. In 2016, the Permanent Court of Arbitration declared Scarborough Shoal a traditional fishing ground that should be shared by the Philippines, China, and Vietnam. But China consistently refuses to recognize the arbitral ruling, which upholds the Philippines' sovereignty in the West Philippine Sea. The Philippine Coast Guard ship that was directly hit by a China Coast Guard water cannon incurred over 2 million pesos in damages. PCG spokesperson Rear Admiral Armand Balilo cites the assessment of the captain of BRP Bakakay, adding that the damage the ship sustained due to the strong water pressure was alarming. According to Balilo, despite being worried, the morale of the ship's crew was still high. On Tuesday, April 30, China Coast Guard vessels blasted water cannons against PCG's BRP Bagakay and Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources BRP Datu Bangkao, causing significant damage to the vessels. The ship's communication and navigation systems were also hit in the water cannon attack. PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela, earlier pointed out that this is the first time the China Coast Guard directly hit a PCG vessel. He deemed the recent incident as an escalation of China's aggressions. Maritime security experts believe the Philippine Coast Guard's position of not using water cannons in retaliation to China is a prudent move. On Wednesday, May 1, a PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela, said the humanitarian armed service wants to maintain professionalism in dealing with the China Coast Guard. This despite China's latest use of a water cannon, which damaged Filipino vessels in Scarborough Shoal. According to Sea Light Director Ray Powell, the PCG's position seems like a wise policy. Powell heads the program of Stanford University's Gordian Knot Center for National Security Innovation that tracks Chinese maritime activities in the West Philippine Sea. Powell stresses that a direct retaliation with the China Coast Guard's actions would provide Beijing a pretext to escalate. He then points out that the Philippines doesn't have the maritime capacity to engage with China's escalation. Meanwhile, retired Philippine Navy Rear Admiral Romel Jude Ong says the Philippines should take the moral high ground in the fight for our sovereign rights. For Chester Cabalza, president and founder of the Manila-based think tank International Development and Security Cooperation, Manila should not succumb to Beijing's illegal attacks. Cabalza says the Philippines abides by the rules of engagement in freedom of navigation by not resorting to violence. Beijing claims sovereignty in almost the entire South China Sea, including most of the West Philippine Sea, despite being effectively invalidated by a 2016 arbitral award. Opposition Senator Risa Hontiveros is urging the Philippine National Police to ensure the accurate number of fugitive Apollo Quiboloy's firearms. During the May 2 hearing of the Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality, Hontiveros mentions in passing her previous appeal for a shorter deadline for Quiboloy to surrender his guns. The opposition senator then notes the need to ensure that these weapons are only 19, as previously disclosed by the PNP.
Ulitin ko lang po yung hiling ko kina Chief PNP sa inyo pong lahat na baka hindi umabot sa 6 na buwan yung period na makuha yung mga yon at matiyak na 19 lang ba talaga kasi kahit sa social media posts nung mala private army niya parang mas marami pa sa 19.
Hontiveros also hopes the process will not take half a year.
And I hope that our processes dito man sa Senate or sa mga korte natin or baka pa sa ibang bansa will not take half a year. So sana sumabay or mauna pa yung aksyon ng ating pambansang kapulisan.
Despite his possession of several firearms, the PNP previously dismissed allegations that Quiboloy is armed and dangerous. Meanwhile, Davao and Pasig courts have separately issued arrest orders against Quiboloy for sexual abuse and human trafficking charges. Apart from these orders, the Senate panel on women, children, family relations, and gender equality, headed by Hontiveros, also issued a warrant of arrest against the controversial sect leader. Vhong Navarro feels grateful after the Taguig Regional Trial Court convicted businessman Cedric Lee, model Deniece Cornejo, and 2 others in the serious illegal detention case filed by the TV host. During the It's Showtime episode on Thursday, May 2, Navarro took the stage to share his message of gratitude following the court's decision. He expressed thanks to God and the Taguig Regional Trial Court for serving the justice he has long prayed for. The TV host also thanked his legal team, ABS-CBN executives, and his fans for their support. Navarro is also grateful to the It's Showtime family for their patience as he compared everything he has been through to a roller coaster ride. Navarro then credited his family for their constant faith in him, further breaking into tears as he addressed his wife, Tanya. Navarro filed the illegal detention case against Lee, Cornejo, Ferdinand Guerrero, and Simeon Palmaraz in 2014 as the TV host was illegally detained after Cornejo had accused him of raping her. The 4 accused are sentenced to 40 years imprisonment and ordered to jointly and severally pay 300,000 pesos in civil indemnity and moral and exemplary damages. The price of cooking gas was slashed by around 1 peso per kilogram per 11 kilogram cylinder. Petron Corporation on May 1 implemented a cut of 1 peso and 15 centavos per kilogram, equivalent to a cut of 12 pesos and 65 centavos per 11 kilogram cylinder in its liquefied petroleum gas products. Solane slashed its LPG prices by 1 peso and 9 centavos per kilogram for 11 pesos and 99 centavos per 11 kilogram cylinder, while Clean Fuel reduced its auto LPG price by 75 centavos per liter. This marks the second consecutive time oil firms cut their LPG prices after last month's drop of 1 peso per kilo or 11 pesos per 11 kilogram cylinder. Here's the latest roundup of today's top stories. Philippines summons Chinese embassy's deputy chief of mission after China used water cannons anew against Filipino vessels in the Scarborough Shoal. Local companies slash price of LPG by more than 1 peso per kilogram. And Taguig court finds Cedric Lee, Deniece Cornejo, and 2 others guilty of serious illegal detention based on complaint filed by Vhong Navarro. These are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good afternoon.